All right, well, Gen Xers and baby boomers, look out. Millennials now make up the biggest share of U.S. home buyers at 36%, 65% of which are first-time home buyers, according to a report by the National Association of Realtors. It makes this demographic the most active generation of buyers for 5 consecutive years, which I guess is pretty surprising to hear considering so many storylines we keep hearing about millennials not being able to buy homes.
Yes, exactly. So there are those stories about how it's very difficult to be able to afford a home, but at the same time, you can't discount the millennial generation because that's the generation right now that really would be in position to buy a home. They're in their late 20s to early 30s. Many have delayed kids, but you can't delay having a home. You need a roof over your head. And they're a little bit beyond the phase of, oh, I'll just sleep on my friend's couch. No, I want my own bed. So it definitely makes sense that the millennial generation would be driving home buying at this point.
Charreah, we had a guest on last week who was talking about a survey that was showing that millennials had regretted buying a home. About 63%, I think it was, of millennials who were regretting buying a home because after they bought the home, they didn't have any money left over to pay for repairs or things like that, and they were caught off guard by that. But what do you make about home buying and home owning being such a key aspect of growing up?
Well, I'm so excited you're covering this story because there is this prevailing stereotype that millennials aren't growing up. And to her point, they're in their late 20s, we're in our 30s. In a few years, you'll have millennials in their 40s. And so it's important that we show that we are growing up. And this is a generation that came of age in the recession. And so we really, at a young age, had to wake up to the value of a dollar, to not think that I could stay in this job and it would be here in a few years. And so that feeling of responsibility came into us early, and so you're seeing that play out.
And I think it's a good point to remember that, yes, this was the generation that was there for 2008 and the housing crisis, and maybe we weren't homeowners then, but we certainly saw what our parents were going through, or just kind of the threat of owning a home and the fears that have to be there with that.
And there's definitely a sense of envy with millennials when you look at the baby boomer generation. We talk about GE a lot. That's a ticker that we often cover. And those were jobs when you worked for a company like GE, you could be there for 20 years, then you could retire and you'd have a nice package. Those types of jobs don't really seem to be around for millennials. We're just multitasking all the time, and we're always like trying to find, the new thing, to stay in a job. I mean, that's what it feels like to be a millennial. And we're also the smartphone generation and the selfie generation. So we've also got like our own image that we're trying to, curate online while also dealing with the financial realities of starting out a career.
Sure, and I'm sure that plays into it. It's always easier to go find some place to rent or maybe Airbnb something and take some selfies there rather than have to worry about making your house look good.
But you want to try to get off your friend's couch.
Yeah, at some point.
You want to get off.
Or get out of mom and dad's basement. I don't like that stereotype either.